Hello everyone, welcome back to the today's session. We are in day 23 session. We are discussing about collection framework. In the last session, we had a discussion about sorted set and how exactly it is behaving, and set also we have seen, and a few important methods which were available specifically in the sorted set we have seen, right? And still, and moreover, I added some kind of data, and then I showed you with respect to tree set how exactly it is behaving, what are the different properties tree set is supporting. Of course, tree set is the implementation class for the sorted set, where it is the sub interface of set and where it is the sub interface of collection. This is entire thing you already aware. Now, in the day 23 session, I just wanted to show you one more example. I straight away directly starts with what one example. It's a simple example, but from this, I wanted to like what convey one point. You try to understand. Here, I'm adding integer object. Okay. In the same manner, I wanted to like what add the user defined object. I don't want to add integer, or I don't want to add any predefined object. I wanted to add a user defined object to the tree set object. That is my requirement. If that is your requirement, okay, since we have a student, let me try to like what remove this. Okay, clear it, save it. Already we have a student class you already prepared, and where it has stid and then st name. Okay, now try to prepare student st1 equal to new student of, okay, so 100 Channa. Okay, so student st2 equals to new student of, okay, so 10101 comma Channa. Okay, or else Channa and then Venkat if I'm saying. Okay, so we have two students are there with two different objects. Okay, so now I wanted to add these two student objects to my tree set. So if that is the case, what we have to do is s dot add of st1, s dot add of st2 itself. Save it. And if I'm printing this system.out.println of yes, if I try to run this, you're getting error. Why we are getting this error? So if you observe this exception, java.lang.class cast exception, com.jsc.cfw.student class cannot be cast to comparable, okay, is in unnamed module of loader, some kind of error we are getting. So entirely the error is what? Class cast exception, some comparable related information. So in my previous example, when I'm adding integer objects, when I'm trying to display, it is just trying to, we are getting the data in an ascending order since it is a integer data. If you are adding the string kind of data in the alphabetical order, by default we are getting. But right now, you're adding the user defined object. So if you're adding user defined object, since it has student ID and then student name, how that ascending order will be happening? So based on what it will be comparing. So straight away, if you are adding either string or integer, that is fine. Java JVM can able to identify, and then it is processing accordingly, and we are getting in that order. But now, since the data is available right now, not directly, this is available in the form of object, right? This is available in the form of object because we have one student and we have one more object is there, where it has 100 and then Channa, where it has 101 and then Venkat. So which one is bigger, this object or this object? So object wise, we cannot compare. Inside the object, whatever the properties we have, based on that, we can compare and then accordingly we can process it. So, whenever you are adding just a normal either string object or integer objects like this, how exactly that logic is going to be happening? I wanted to show you one thing. One second. Close all windows. Let me open once again. One second, sir. Yeah. So see here, my question is, what is my question here? Yeah. I wanted to show you either integer or any wrapper class you just open. Observe the API, integer API. open docs.oracle.com. Here, whether you are observing or not, okay, every wrapper class, either integer or string or something like this, if you are observing implemented interfaces, so these classes are going to be implemented from one of the predefined interface, that is what a comparable, right sir? Inside the comparable, we have a, okay, this is a marker interface, sir. Okay, this interface, so this is available inside the lang package. What is the significance of this interface is, the interface imposes a total ordering on the objects of each class that implements it. The ordering is referred to as the class's natural ordering, and the class's compare to method is referred to as its natural comparison method. So since these objects are implemented from comparable interface, automatically this natural ordering is going to be happening. That is the secret. That is the reason behind how the data is coming like in that particular order. Okay. So tree said whatever the data we are adding, that object is the comparable object. Since this is a comparable object, inside that it is a comparative method is going to be executed. When this is going to be executed, natural comparison method is going to be happening. That means ascending order and then alphabetical order, dictionary order, something like this. Sir, if you are observing, only one method is there, that is what compare to. Compares this object with the specified object for order. So, and when you observe the return type integer, when you observe the return type, see here, I will tell you if the given object is greater than the specified object, it is returning the positive value. If the given object is less than the specified object, it is returning the negative value. If both the objects are equal, okay, then it is giving you the 0 itself. So see here, a negative integer, 0 or a positive integer, as this object is less than, equal to or greater than the specified object. For example, if the given object is 4, if the given object is 4, specified object is 5. 4 is less than 5 or 4 is greater than 5. 4 is less than 5, it returns minus, negative value. I'm not talking about the value, I'm talking about the sign. Based on the sign only, the values are going to be arranged. Based on the values or based on the signs, I mean the negative positive values only, the values of the data is going to be arranged. Internally, this tree set is following the balanced tree algorithm. Internally, tree set is following what? A balanced tree algorithm itself. Right. So this is somehow it is the predefined logic, sir. To get the, so whatever the natural ordering we are getting, this is the actual logic. This logic is automatically got invoked, okay, whenever you are using the corresponding predefined objects, okay, and accordingly it is going to be happening. Now the point is here, why we are getting this class cast exception. Whatever the object you are adding to the tree set right now, the student object is not the comparable object. The student object is the normal Java class object. Sir, how can you make the student class object as the comparable object? As we know so far, to add any object to the tree set, what is the point you learned so far? It should be homogeneous. But along with that homogeneous, it should be comparable objects also. How can you say it is a comparable object or not? If this class is implementing from comparable interface, automatically, okay, then this student is what, sir? It is a comparable object. The student is what, sir? Comparable object. Here I am mentioning the generic types, comparable of which types, student you mentioned. So whenever you are implementing comparable, it is asking to like what override this unimplemented method, because comparable interface contains compare to methods, sir. So when I clicked on this, you will get like this. This is the logic, sir. So what logic you have to prepare? Tell me now. Whatever the predefined logic, if you are defining the same logic, you will get the natural sorting technique. If you want any other order, yes, you can do it based on the student ID or based on the student name. You can happily do it. So how can you write that logic? Tell me. How can you write this particular logic? 1 second, please. So here, how can you write this particular logic? You need to understand, sir. How can you write this particular logic? You need to understand. Basic If you are not touching anything, by default, you will get the natural sorting order. But majorly, my important point which I wanted to convey here is to add any object to the tree set, it should be homogeneous and comparable object. So far, why didn't you define that comparable object? Because whatever the objects we are adding, either integer or string, those are comparable objects only. Since those are comparable objects, internally it invokes the compare to method. That is the reason we are getting the data in ascending order or alphabetical dictionary order. But right now we are adding the normal user defined objects. Sir, even though if it is homogeneous, you are adding only the student objects only to the tree set object, but still it is not allowing, it is giving you the class cast exception. Why, sir? Because to add any object to the tree set, it should be homogeneous and as well as what? Comparable. How can you make any Java class object as a comparable object? It must be implemented from comparable interface, and you have to override compare to method by providing the sufficient required logic itself. How can you do this? It's very simple. Just you just try to like what understand here. Okay, how can you add? Okay, how can you make this as the comparable object, and we can write this. See here, if stid. Okay, if stid already the student is there na stid. So that means what, sir? This current object stid. You can write this dot stid also, not a problem. This dot stid. If it is greater than o dot okay, o dot get stid. Okay, na? So I am writing the logic, sir. If the first property is greater than the specified object get student id, what we have to return? In case of greater than, you have to like what, return the positive value. Forget about the value, sir. Whether it might be 100 or any other stuff, but only focus on the sign. Sign is important. Okay, now here I am writing else if stid is less than o dot get stid. Here I am writing, sir, return -1. Okay. In the else case, meaning that both the objects are equal, sir. Both the objects are equal. Return 0. Return what? 0 itself. So if you observe now, based on this example, now the moment I implemented this compare to method and I implemented this logic, okay, immediately the error which you compile time error we didn't get, but now I wanted to show you, if I run this particular, okay, now we are not getting any exception. We are getting 100 Channa, 101 anchored. So far the data is going to be sorted based on the ID, sir. Based on the ID, since you wrote such kind of logic here itself. Now the point is, one more point is, student is the, right now it is not only the homogeneous, it is a comparable object also. That is the reason tree set is allowing. Okay, for example here, if I'm taking like 10, if I'm taking like something like 8. So now you just observe, now first Venkat will come and then after Channa will come. So if I try to like what, run this application, 8 and then 10 is coming. So in the same manner, based on the name also you can sort it out. Based on the name also you can sort it out. So in this way, you are able to like what, add the user defined object to the tree set object, and according to our requirement, you can sort the data. Okay, you are not going to sort the data straight away with respect to or based on the object. Whatever the properties inside the object has, based on that we are trying to perform this comparison, sorting. So that is what exactly I did here. Okay, so you need to understand about what one interface, predefined interface, comparable interface, which is available inside the java.lang package. Java.lang package itself. So that means it is required to implement a comparable interface. It is because the tree set maintains the sorting order. And for doing the sorting, the comparison of different objects that are being inserted in the tree set is must, which is accomplished by only implementing the comparable interface and providing the logic inside the compare to method. For example, if I am changing the logic, instead of if the current object is greater than the specified object based on the stid, if I'm changing the values from negative to like what, positive, completely we can expect this in which order, tell me? Obviously in descending order. That is the reason we are getting 10 first and then 8 will come later. because of you are just changing the logic. You are making reverse. The logic is going to be reversed. Instead of arranging the data in the left hand side in that particular balance tree, it will be arranged in the right hand side, since you are changing the logic. Existing logic you are changing now based on your requirement. So that is the reason you are getting the data in reverse order itself. Okay, like this we are able to add the user defined objects to the tree set object. How to add user defined objects, okay, to the tree set object is very, very important. Like normally we can add easily, but make sure while you are adding any user defined objects to the tree set, you have to take this care. What care you have to take? Okay, you have to add only comparable objects, and that comparable objects you can make by implementing that comparable interface. And moreover, you have to override the moreover, you have to override the compare to method itself. For example, okay, this is not required. This equals an hash code that I'll tell you later. So only compare to method you have to override, and you know already the logic itself. Okay, so come back to here in the test6.java, control C. All right, control V. So in this way, we can add the user defined objects to the tree set objects. Coming back to what test6.java, you may ask one question. Okay, this is fine, I can understand. But for example, here it is integer is there, new tree set is there. You try to understand. Here s dot add of 34, s dot add of 67, s dot add of 100, s dot add of 4. All right. Only now this time I am adding, okay, I am adding integer objects. Of course, integer object is a homogeneous and as well as comparable objects. If I am trying to print this, of course, I am getting in the ascending order only. What if I want to get in the descending order? Do we have any predefined methods are there? Do we have any predefined methods inside the collections dot? I think 1 second. Let me cross check. We have a predefined class is there, collections. Inside this collections, we have a reverse, I think reverse order is there, but reverse order, not sure. Let me cross check once. Okay, reverse order is not taking anything, right? Okay, 1 second. I think one predefined method is there. I'm just looking for that predefined method to get the data in the reverse order without taking this, without, without taking the help of this comparable and all this. We do have some predefined methods are there. I think what is that? I'm just looking for that inside the tree set. Not sure. 1 second. Okay, descending iterator is there, but iterator ITR control shift O java.util.iterator. We are just invoking the descending iterator. But instead of descending iterator, still we do have one predefined class is there, collections dot. I think let me cross check collections class, where collections is one of the utility class. Collections API. I'm just checking. Okay, reverse order method is there. I think one predefined method is there. Okay, reverse order. Reverse is there, but reverse order comparator, it is expecting the comparator, but reverse is there, which is accepting the list. Okay, in case of list, it is possible, I guess. But can we convert this into the list? Okay, array list of integer. But I don't want to take this. But okay, of course, that is possible by using comparator object. That's fine. Okay, no worries. I mean, we need some other concepts are required for my requirement. It's okay. It's just leave it for some time. I will, whenever the concept will come, I'll tell you. But so far, it is okay. But now I do have some other questions in my mind. Let me come back to like what my previous program only. Let me come back to my previous program. Let me come back to my previous program. Okay, this is fine. So save it. Why the error is coming? So if you see ST1, ST2, save it. Anything wrong did I do? Okay, here we have to like what mention student. Okay, save it. Now, if I run this based on that 10 channa and 10, then because we are just changing the inside the student class that compare to method. Okay. Now the point is, of course, I am just sticking on the existing logic only, like how they have implemented. So then, if that is the case, we are getting in the ascending order based on the student ID. But now, if I'm adding 10 channa, it's fine. If I'm adding same 10 channa, both the objects are equal or not. So in the heap memory, how many objects are going to be created? That is my question. Okay, whenever you are using new operator, always it creates a new object. Always it creates a new object. So if this is the case, okay, we have one object that is a ST1. We have another object that is a ST2. This is pointing to ST1. This is pointing to ST2. But both the objects are having the same data. That is 100 and then 10 channa, 10 channa. Okay, data wise, both are equal. Okay, but objects wise, both are different. But objects wise, both are different. Now I am adding, as you already aware, preset is not allowing the duplicates. Preset is not allowing the duplicates. Okay, now let me try to like what remove this hash code method and then equals method, come back to test6.java. Now I'm adding this, as you know already, right now the data is same, but of course the data is available in the object. If I'm adding and if I'm running, since the tree set is not allowing, any set is not allowing the duplicates, that is already you aware. If I run this application, now we are getting 10 and then channa. Okay, I think 1 second. Let me save this. Okay, 1 second. Let me save this. Tree set is not allowing the duplicates. Okay, since I'm adding this compare to method, we are getting like this. But I wanted to convey one important point here. 1 second. If I am removing this, it is not possible to get the data something like this. In case of tree set, it is not possible. Okay. Okay. For now, what I'll do is let me remove this comparable interface also. Comparable interface also. Save it. It's a normal student class. Now come back to here. And here I'm just making this as a hash set instead of tree set. Okay, try to understand. It's very simple. So now previously it was tree set. That's fine. But in case of hash set, okay, it is not since the order is not going to be in any natural sorting technique. We can add normal any kind of object itself. Now I'm adding hash set. I'm creating the hash set which is accepting the student object and I'm adding accordingly. So as you already aware of, both the objects are different, but according to data wise, both are same. As you know already, hash set is also not allowing the duplicates. Now if I'm printing this, if I'm trying to run this, we are getting 10 channa and again 10 channa, meaning that it is allowing duplicates or not. Yes, it is allowing duplicates, but it is violating the exact existing rule of set. That is what it is not allowing duplicates. So how can we restrict? We have to see based on the objects equality. internally, okay, when we are adding to the set object, it is just checking whether this object is equal or not. So which method is okay, which method is going to be invoked internally by the Java, Java JVM itself? Internally, it invokes the equals method. But inside the student class, okay, we are not overriding any equals method. Since it is, we are not overriding the equals method, internally, it will invoke the object class equals method. Whenever the object class equals method will be executed, even though equals method is working based on the content, based on the content wise, but once object class equals method, if it gets invoked, it is working exactly like a reference comparison. Reference comparison means what? Okay, reference comparison means what? Okay, now this is one object. This object is pointing to st1. The same object is pointing to st2. Then at this time, if two reference variables are pointing to the same object, it returns true. If it is not like that, if so we have a 1 second. One second now. Okay, what happened? Yeah. So we have one more object. Here we have one more object. Two objects are there. So this object is pointing to st1 and this object is pointing to st2. So both the reference variables are pointing to different objects. So then it returns what? Equals method is returning what? False. So that is how exactly it is working. The working mechanism of equals method of object class. The same thing here also it is happening. Since even though the data is same, it is considering these two students objects are equal, even though content wise it is same, but the two objects are going to be different, which are going to be stored in the heap memory. That is the reason your hash set is allowing, your hash set is considering as a different object and it is allowing. But when you see the output, by seeing the output, it is what you feel actually, array hash set is allowing duplicates. So that is the reason what we have to do is, instead of giving the chance to the equals method of object class, we have to override that equals method inside the student class. Okay. So for this, what I have to do is public, come on. Okay, equals method, public boolean equals method, which is accepting student obj. Is it fine? Save it. Okay, let me cross check it. And even I think here we can generate this also. Source, generate hash code and equals, generate it. Here you see, so much logic is there, but it's fine. If you are observing, if I'm removing this, and here I'm closing, and if I'm removing this hash code method also, okay, we don't know so far what do you mean by hash code method. Let me remove this. Okay, see, if you are observing, now we have to convert this object to like what? Our own object, like into the student. We have to compare now. Okay, stu student obj. Okay, now observe how can you compare if stu dot or else if stid, okay, if stid dot or else dot equals of, if this dot get stid dot equals of stu dot get stid. If both the stids are different, I mean same, if both the stids are same, meaning that it's supposed to like what? Return what? True. It's supposed to like what? Return what? True itself. So why the error is coming? Cannot invoke equals method. Okay. So in this case, we should not use equals method. We have to like what? Use double equals to. Why? Because get stid method is returning the integer. Na? On top of the integer, you cannot invoke the dot equals method. Usually we can use that dot equals method on top of the string stuff. Okay. So in the same manner, one more if this dot get st name, okay, dot equals of. Now we can use this dot equals stu dot get st name. So then it returns what? Okay, then it returns true. Otherwise, return what? False. Save it. So this is the exact logic which you override inside the Boolean method. Okay, but why the error is coming? Let me control C. So this if is fine. This if is fine. Okay. Yes. Let me use. Okay. And this is the equals method closing. This is the main method. This is the close of the main method. Syntax error or token. Let me do this. Save it. Okay. If I'm removing this, let me save this. Just wait. Here equals method is fine. Let me save this main method. Oh, okay. From here on up to here only it is coming. So then we have to okay. Here we have to return false. Save it. Right. So this is how exactly it got implemented. Equals method is fine. Okay, now we did it. So now come to like what test6.java. Now we are adding 10 and then Channa. It is internally cross-checking this equals method. Okay, student ID and passing the student ID is same. If it is same, it returns true. If it is returning the true, it is considering as what same objects. So if it is the same object, your hash rate is not allowing, right? When I try to like what run this, it is even though if I'm running this after overriding this, okay, if after this also it is allowing this 10 and then Channa. So I mean same objects are allowing. Why? Because even though we are as per the requirement only we override this and then we wrote this logic, but still it is considering as like why it is considering as a different object. Whenever the two objects are same, but still their hash codes must be same. Their hash codes must be same. But when you create the object like this using new operator like this, internally their hash codes are going to be different. If internally their hash codes are going to be different, your hash set object is also considering as those are what different objects, even though you are overriding equals method. That is the reason, along with overriding the toString method, okay, along with overriding the toString method, what we have to do is you have to like what override. Come on, you have to like what override what? You have to like what override what? Okay, you have to like what override hash code methods also. Public int hash code, and here I am returning what? stid only. I mean, if these are the same for every object, I am returning the same hash code. That hash code is of course your student ID. If you want to like what return any value, yes, you can. It is fine. I mean to say for every object, the hash code is what the 100 only. That is what my meaning. Otherwise, if you want to like what generate, yes, you can generate. Okay, the source generate hash code. Okay, save it. Generate. Equals method is going to be generated. Hash code method, some kind of formula they have, and accordingly they are finding. If you want to like what do your own logic also, that's fine. You just randomly you just return some value, that is fine. It is just considering the either hash codes are going to be same or different. Of course, internally the ID is generating by just maintaining some formula, and accordingly, if it is just giving you one random hash code value, that's it. But now if I run this application, since you override both equals method and hash code method, now it is not allowing, it is allowing only 10 and then Channa. So that means what? So what I wanted to convey here is, while you are working with especially set related stuff, especially hash set or either linked hash set, I mean to say implementation classes for the set interface. Okay, that moment, if you get a chance to add the user defined objects, make sure that particular object contains equals method you have to override, and along with that hash code methods also you have to override. Then only your JVM or Java compiler be in a position to backward compare whether these objects are same or different, whether these objects are going to be same or different. So that is the reason, that is the actual contract in between what equals and then hash code method. You have to like what override like this. Otherwise, these are it is violating the existing collection rules like this. Okay, so I hope you can understand this equals method and then hash code method contract. So whether if you are observing or not, anywhere, whenever they are overriding equals method, they are going to override the hash code methods. So then only existing collection rules will not be violated. So like this itself. So this is one of the very, very important thing you need to like what remember itself. Contract in between equals method and hash code method. Okay. So now that is all about what my today's session. And in the next session, I will try to like what discuss about what one more concept. Okay. So regarding iterators, list iterator, so some cursors are there in the collection framework that I will tell you regarding in my next session. So try to like what follow these sessions, practice it, and then get the knowledge itself. Try to share to your needy friends. Thank you.